Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Healing Frequencies and Intoning the Divine, the magical abilities of sound with Jonathan Goldman, harmonics pioneer, author, director of Sound Healers Association, and Andi Goldman, musician, author, holistic psychotherapist specializing in sound healing. So happy to be with you both today.
Oh, Charissa, thank you. And Humanities team, we are absolutely delighted to be here.
It is a blessing to be with you. Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's our pleasure. You guys are the originals, some of the original Stream Plus providers that have been with the Global Oneness Summit and Humanities team since we started. So we appreciate you and your partnership. I'm Charissa Sims, live event host for Humanities Team, a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to make conscious living pervasive worldwide by 2040. And I'm coming to you live from Lafayette, Colorado. And I also want to welcome Jonathan and Andi's audience. The Sign Network, those streaming live through the Humanities Team Facebook page, Humanities Team YouTube channel, and the Stream Plus members that are here with us now. Thank you for being members. Welcome, everyone. And because it's a live program, we will have time for comments and questions. So try to get the question in within the first 30 to 40 minutes, post it in the chat wherever you're watching, and then get your question answered by Andi or Jonathan. And let me share more about our esteemed guest, which I had the pleasure of meeting at an event in Boulder. It was quite a surprise, actually, to run into them. Andi Goldman, MA, LPC, is a licensed psychotherapist specializing in holistic counseling and sound therapy. What a combination. I'm sure you have incredible results. She is the director of Healing Sound Seminars and co-director of the Sound Healers Association. She is a musician, teacher, sound healer, award-winning author, and the wife and partner of Jonathan Goldman. Jonathan and Andi Goldman had co-authored Chakra Frequencies, winner of the Visionary Award for Best Alternative Health Book. Congratulations. And their new best-selling book, The Humming Effect, which has won the 2018 Gold Vision Award for Best Health Healing Book, both from Inner Traditions. Now, let me share a little about Jonathan. He is an international authority and pioneer in the field of sound healing. He is a renowned writer, musician, and teacher. Jonathan is the author of several books, including Healing Sounds, The Divine Name, which was the 2011 Visionary Award for Best Alternative Book of the Year, and The 7 Secrets of Sound Healing. So a Grammy nominee. His award-winning recordings include Chakra Chants, The Divine Name, and Reiki Chants. He is the founder and director of the Sound Healers Association and CEO of Spirit Music. Jonathan Goldman was named one of Watkins' Mind, Body, Spirit magazine's 100 most spiritually influential living people and recently received the Distinguished Person of the Year Award from the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology for his pioneering contribution to the field of sound and energy. Andi and Jonathan are a dynamic power couple, and I would just say you exude pure joy. Yes, both over Zoom and in person. So whatever you're doing, keep it up. And forever young. You also look very youthful. I just wanted to say that.
I just celebrated my 75th birthday about a week ago, and Andi even a little bit more than that. So
I'm even older.
Ooh, an older woman.
He's with
yes,
an older
indeed.
woman.
I love it. It's great.
Charissa, thank you for that. That has touched my heart. So
Oh, Wonderful. So you've done so much alone, but also as a couple because your focus is on teaching and using sound for personal and planetary healing. And you've presented workshops throughout the planet on how to use sound for healing and self-transformation. And your most recent global teachings are on the 4 pillars of sound and the power of conscious humming. So that's incredible. What an honor to be with you both today.
It's just a real blessing. And, we have been, since we've been thus far around the planet for a little while, we've had our individual lives, past lives, if you like, and then our current life together. And that's, in my mind, been one of the great blessings for ourselves because the co-creative aspect of a male and female joining together in cooperation and compassion and harmony is among the most extraordinary things that can manifest on the planet. Nah, I'm here to testify. It's great.
I'll testify too.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's like the divine masculine and the divine feminine coming together for this powerful co-creation that is I think what our destiny is on our planet.
Well, you know what? It gives people that availability, that opportunity to really begin to resonate and vibrate with their own masculine and feminine, because we all really have both. And so it's a real blessing to be able to, to share in this capacity for sure.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And what a good point too, that we all have those energies that we need to balance of the feminine and masculine as individuals. So that's it. That's incredible to note that. Well, I was wondering if you could start us off with some breaths and a sound together. So everyone can participate with this. So
Well,
at home, let's do this. Let's start.
one thing we just like to do a whole lot is the hum. But
Okay, wonderful.
here's the phenomena is that with the extraordinary graces of Zoom, unless we somehow click ourselves into what is called original sound for musicians, which may be a switch or two that I need to hit, the hum is going to cut off after about 4 or 5 seconds, which sounds a little bit. So it's a great idea. Let me see if I can find this somewhere.
Maybe we can do just the 3 seconds and
Okay,
everyone.
let us, and the idea basically, as we were talking before, it's really all about consciousness. And the sound simply is the purveyor of it. So taking some nice deep breaths. So Andi, why don't you lead us with that for a
I would be
second?
honored to do that. So I always like to close our eyes and just begin to focus for a moment on our breathing in and breathing out, and really feeling our bodies relax. And as we breathe in on our next out breath, let us hum together. So nice deep breath in and hum.
And taking another nice deep breath in. And on this breath, just visualizing that we are actually interconnected, even though we are separated a little bit by space or whatnot, that our fields are interconnected, all of us who are taking part in this. And let us feel this interconnection and make another sound to resonate together with each other. So taking a breath in and and finally, the last one, let's do one more and let's encode it. The energy of compassion, kindness, love, just feeling gratitude for being in the now, right now. How does that sound?
Let's do it. Breathing in.
Thank you for that last one. It felt so powerful because you had such an incredible intention for that hum for all of us to experience. And I felt the energy of it increase significantly, about 100-fold. So that was amazing.
Isn't that
Thank you.
interesting? How our consciousness, then each intentionality
Well,
manifested. Yeah.
and and that just reminds me, Jonathan, of your formula, which is frequency plus intent equals healing. And we have utilized that formula for all of this time we've worked with sound. And Jonathan, I think, came up with it back in the 80s. So it's been around a while. But, that intention is as important as the vibration of the sound, because the vibration of the sound carries that intention to manifestation.
I see. Wonderful. Well, we are powerful co-creative beings. So thank you for reminding us of that formula, that it's not necessarily just the sound, it's also your intent for healing, hopefully, or gratitude, whatever it might be.
Well, Charissa, just as a thought, back in the 80s, as Andi was saying, when that literally was given to me as an explanation for why there are so many different systems of using sound for healing, for resonating the chakras, for resonating the organs, for X, Y, or Z. And they weren't necessarily in alignment. They weren't in agreement. And I was just sitting back and forth in a chair in a state of intellectual angst, thinking, how could this be? How could there be so many different sounds that didn't align? And yet the people who were teaching them claimed they were, and I had no reason to think that they weren't telling their truth. And this inner voice said, it is not only the frequency of the sound that creates the effect, but the intention of the person making and receiving the sound. And I wrote down the word frequency plus intent equals healing. And that was back in the 1980s and early 80s. And now, 40 years later, it's more relevant than ever. And I think it's also been validated a whole lot more, whether you have people like Wayne Dyer working with the power of intent, or Masaru Emoto showing the fabulous effects of intentionality on water crystals, or Joe Dispenza, or Dr. Bruce Lipton and the biology of belief. All of these people are now showing that intentionality can be foremost. I think when you add the energy of sound, that amplifies it even more, which is why we continue working with sound and intention rather than just pure intention, because it's even Lynn McTaggart, who does her intention experiments, utilizes my Reiki chants as a phenomena to basically attune her people to it. Sound is just a great tool.
Yeah. And Andi, did you have something to add? I feel like maybe how you work with your clients, would you apply this formula?
Oh, absolutely. Because I think, Charissa, what the intention that we're holding when we are wanting to shift our consciousness, we wanted to balance our emotional body, mind, and spirit. That intention that we hold can really be so powerful and can amplify the healing process. And then you add a sound to it. So even with my clients, just even a hum, an ohm, or whatever sound might emerge, that is just such a actually, it's once you begin to work with it, it's pretty easy to do.
Oh,
So our audience, just hold that intention, set that intention, hold that intention, and then begin to sound and imagine that sound is carrying that intention to manifestation. And of course, healing is a fabulous intention, but you could have any intention that you wanted. So, yeah.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So how might you set that intention? Would you say, I intend to heal my liver or heal my foot? Would that be a statement that you say out loud or in your mind?
You could do it either way.
Okay.
Either way, you could, just as long as you're holding that intention. Oftentimes, speaking it out loud is, you know, another, aspect of having it manifest. You could write your intention. You could just hold your intention in your thoughts.
And I mean, this is a whole intro. When is the best time to encode intent? What is the best way of encoding intent? And there's one time where I got into, if you like, that for me, the best time was in the still point between the in breath and the out breath of a sound. You take a breath in, pop, program the intention, and then the intention is there. But you know what? One of the really big things that we are both in is being fluid and not locked into any one way of doing it. Because what happens? Oh, I forgot to do it. Oh, it didn't work. No, because consciousness is all pervading. And this is just a technique. And for example, for ourselves, or for myself at least, if I have an owie and I'd like to work with it, and I'll oftentimes work with the hum, because the hum is a great overall sound. You can work with a gazillion mantras, which I know, or vowel sounds or harmonics, but the hum is really an all-pervasive type of ubiquitous sound. But basically, you do the hum with the intention that it is going to be resonating in a particular part of your body, whether it's your big toe or your liver or whatnot. And not only can you have the concept of resonance, but you can encode it with a color, with an affirmation, with all sorts of things, because we are only limited by our own, ability to, play with these phenomena, and we are unlimited beings, so we are not limited by anything.
And Chris, I want to just add that when we are making a sound, or whatever the sound happens to be, humming, an oming, a mantra, whatever, what is happening on a physiological level? Our blood pressure is being lowered, our heart rate is being lowered, our bodies are going into that place of relaxation. When we are calm, that is when the healing has the best chance of working. And so, we set our intention, we hold that intention, we make that sound, and our bodies are doing a lot of work as well during that time.
I think Andi just hit upon it, perhaps as an overall gestalt, because people are always, how does sound heal? Well, ultimately, if it's something as simple, and it may be something as simple as putting the body into a state of relaxation, what a blessing that is, because so many people are so stressed out these days. Their bodies are stressed, their minds are stressed, their electromagnetic fields are stressed. They can somehow end up taking some nice deep breaths, maybe using a sound to take a brief sonic oasis, a sonic vacation. And because the body does know how to heal itself if it can get into a state of equilibrium and balance through relaxation.
And of course, physiologically, there's many other benefits besides the heart rate being lowered, the blood pressure. Melatonin is released, oxytocin, nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator. All of these hormones are just so healing. And many people don't know that. And we love to share this, because once you kind of grok that, whoa, wait a minute. Hey, all this stuff is going on while I'm even just humming. I got to do that more often because I want to feel better.
And then you believe. And if you believe, then of course it really makes things a lot more real and a lot more powerful. Other things, including endorphins as well, which are those fabulous, we feel good when we do it. So, I mean, the whole thing is on a level working with sound and these other phenomena is that you feel good from it, which is a real blessing. What a blessing.
Yes.
Yes. That's amazing. Well, I'd love to hear about your journey of getting into sound and sound healing. Did you want to start, Jonathan, and share?
Sure. Well, even before I had that frequency plus intent equals healing experience, and 40 years ago, before that, I was playing in a rock and roll band in Cape Cod, Massachusetts one night. And I strapped on one of my guitars back there, came on with the band, started playing, looked out at the audience, and became aware that the ambiance of the club was one of negativity and violence. Now, the alcohol and the different intoxicants that people were imbibing were helping induce this ambiance, but I realized at the time that the music that I was creating was also helping induce this. And I had the thought, it was very simple, but I'd been playing professionally about 14 or 15 years before that. I was one of the first kids in my neighborhood, or actually in my town, or actually maybe in the state of Jersey, me and Bruce Springsteen, to play electric guitar. And I'd been playing a long time, and I'd never had the thought. And the thought was, what if sound could be used to make people feel better? And that shifted about 10 degrees. It wasn't much more, but it became within like the next week or so, what if sound and music could be used to heal? And from there, doors just opened. My life changed. I received a piece of paper back when the workshops were still advertising, pieces of paper from a woman named Sarah Benson, teaching about using sound and music for healing. And I had this experience in the workshop, and Sarah had since went on to become not only my dear friend, but dear friend and mentor of Andi and myself. And she actually was the godmother of our son Joshua, and we call her the divine mother of sound healing. And so from there, literally, I took my record company, which was a new wave record company, and turned it into a new age record company, being one of the first therapeutic labels. Went to Lesley University, got a master's degree researching the uses of sound and music for healing. Founded the Sound Healers Association, the first and oldest, it was, at the time, was a nonprofit, if you like, agency dedicated to researching the uses of sound music for healing. And things just continued. And then somewhere in the 1990s, I guess it was, I met my beloved Andi, and things just even grew a whole lot better.
Okay, now it's Andi's turn.
Oh.
I love that. Yeah. So Andi, what brought you to the world of sound healing?
Well, I would have to say largely it was Jonathan who brought me into the world of sound healing. However, we connected about 30 years ago. We've been working together for quite a long time. Before I met Jonathan, of course, as a holistic psychotherapist, one of my major modalities, I was very much of an expressive therapist. And I had many, many friends who were in the field of sound. And one of my dearest lifelong friends, who is no longer with us, Don Campbell. I don't know if you remember him. He wrote The Mozart Effect, and he was quite well known at the time. And I did a lot of work with Don with sound, and happened to, along the way, meet this guy right here. And we started deciding, hey, let's work together. And how can we do that? And so we started developing workshops together. And then we started writing books together. And, just one thing after the other, to here we are today, and very filled with gratitude, I have to say, because it's been a beautiful journey, a very beautiful journey.
But I remember when I met Andi for the first time.
Yes, I wanted to hear this.
And I was asking her, this was at a Christmas party that Don Campbell had done, and she was telling me about she literally created the world's first telephone counseling service called telecounsel, where clients would call her up and she would basically deal with what they called homebound. Is that
right? People that could not get to a therapist.
And, if you think about it, this has now evolved into the
Yes.
world of coaching. So if I am one of the pioneers in sound healing, she is one of the pioneers of coaching. She doesn't talk about that much, but she really is. She was
That's incredible.
in the New York Times and all this other stuff for telecounsel. And then she, and I didn't push her into this, but she began working with me as opposed to doing that because other people were, beginning to follow in her footsteps. But
I started working with other therapists and training them to how they can start their own, at the time, telephone counseling service, because that was way before the internet.
Right.
And,
Right.
It was, a viable way of helping people who were not able to get to a therapist, or who maybe didn't want anyone to know they were seeing a therapist, et cetera. And so I started doing consultations with other therapists, and it grew and grew. And I think it's.
Yeah. And one of the things that we oftentimes teach is about what we call compassionate communication. And that's where you listen to the other person, actually listen to them, as opposed to, if you like, have an answer to what they're saying halfway before they're finished. And then when you speak kindly and compassionately, because our words then can be healing words. And that is a minimally effortless and easy and powerful way of doing sound healing. But I realized at the time that Andi had this ability of working with clients long distance using sound. And I thought, wow, what an innately powerful sound healer she was.
Thank you, honey.
Yeah, that's amazing. So did you meet in Boulder, and you were both single, and you felt a connection?
Absolutely. In fact, we actually met at Sunrise Ranch. And so Jim, who was our producer, he is very familiar with Sunrise Ranch. And that was where we met back in 1995.
Yeah, so
yes, indeed. So, a long time ago.
That's wonderful. Well, what are some common misconceptions regarding sound as a healing modality?
Well, I mean, I would immediately come up with some, because I see a lot of them myself every day, but I'm afraid that I'm going to have to first relate back to the formula, which is frequency plus intent equals healing, which I find so very, very true. But if our intention is so very, very powerful, then your belief in the power of a sound or a word or whatnot becomes so almost all-encompassing that all bets are off. So anything I say now is based upon my knowledge of that. But, one of the misconceptions, I think people get very locked into there being specific frequencies that have healing abilities. And some of these frequencies are frequencies that I brought down to the earth, and they're really good and they're really cool. And the guides and beings and gods and goddesses that I work with have said, it's really important that people do not get locked in and limited to just using these frequencies, because the world of sound is all encompassing. And to just focus in on one frequency or one set of frequencies is a little bit like only eating tofu or chopped liver. You want to be able to, if you like, engage in the entire smorgasbord of the fabulous sounds that are on our planet. That's probably the biggest, because people are so these days very locked into, this is a healing frequency, then everybody follows that. And it's like, it's great if you're looking to get training wheels, if you need that. But once again, I really hope that people don't in this lifetime limit themselves, because we would be sorely amiss if we didn't encompass so much more.
And Chris, I think a real prevalent misconception is that to be a sound healer or to work with sound in a healing capacity, you have to be a musician. You have to be a singer. And oh, if I'm not a singer, how could I possibly work with sound? We always, I always feel bad when I hear people say that, because I go, no, 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 anybody. If you have a voice, you can work with sound. And I think that misconception keeps people from really delving into what sound is really about in terms of healing. And that is actually specifically why we wrote our book, The Humming Effect, because we wanted to educate, if you will, educate people out in the world about how important and how vital sound can be for healing. And of course, we chose to focus on the sound that everybody can make, and that is humming. And of course, our whole book is about that.
And I mean, the reason that we did the hum, and this is actually the first professionally published book on the hum. And mind you, previously, and well, down here in our studio, I could hold up these different books that we've done on a variety of different subjects. And, you know, they can be complex mantras or vocal harmonics or Tibetan deep voice chanting and whatnot. But we wanted to find something that everybody, that was all inclusive. And the one sound that I remember we were going, what's a sound that everybody can make? And, you know, and we went, you know, you have babies naturally humming, the elderly naturally hum. People hum when they're happy. In fact, Steve one time, you know, said to me, said, you know, Jonathan, you can't hum when you're angry. And it's so really, really true.
That is true. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, I'd love to hear from our audience. If ever anyone has any questions or comments for Andi or Jonathan, just put it in the chat. And at this time, I'd like to play a clip from Stream Plus. You have so many amazing courses on our platform, our new user-friendly platform we just transferred over to. So it's available to Humanities team members, and you discuss personal and planetary healing. Can we play that first clip?
Sacred traditions on the planet, they all talk about using sound as a way of communing with the divine, and in certain of the traditions, such as the Hindu tradition, they talk about sound being able to balance and align the electromagnetic field, the chakras, the energy centers of the body. And in order to do this, it's very, very simple. We just simply have to make some self-created vowel sounds and put our intention into it, and all of a sudden we're almost a different person. We're in a great state of being.
It is important when working with sacred sound, such as we have just done, to be in a space of silence after the sound has been created. This allows the sound the opportunity, the space, the ability to create shift and change on a molecular, cellular, DNA level, on our physical bodies, as well as on an etheric level. So it is a space of silence that took me so very, very long to understand its power, because for those who have been working with sound, it's so great to be in sound, and what a rush, and how fabulous. And then the silence. The silence is really the key. It is the yin to the yang of sound, and something we will be honoring tonight whenever we make sound. And perhaps you already honor it in your life, and if not, you will take into the consciousness of yourself the aspect of the power of silence as well as sound to heal and transform it, how they all work together.
I love in that clip where you're talking about the role of silence. And I think I recognize that was the Star House in Boulder. Was that wonderful? So can you expand on that more, the role of silence in sound healing?
You know what we'd love to do for just a moment, if it's okay?
Yes.
We'd like to talk about, because that is the fourth pillar of our 4 pillars of sound healing.
Yeah, so we can talk about that. Great.
Well, and we came up with the 4 pillars of sound really as a way of just trying to, I mean, there are many, many, many pillars of sound, but we wanted, because people are becoming so interested in sound, we wanted to provide almost a foundational level so that people could begin to understand a little bit. And so we came up with the 4 pillars.
And I mean, interesting, you're asking before about misconceptions or whatnot. Well, one of them simply is that that's not a misconception, but once again, as we go through these 4 pillars, we'll go through them relatively quickly, just because we can spend an hour or a day on each of them. But just as an overall brief gestalt, we'll share them with you. And for people to understand it. Now, the first one, almost everybody gets now because of perhaps some of the books that I wrote about that came from, and I stood on the shoulders of giants myself who were standing on, because the stuff dates back to, Pythagoras, ancient Greek, and to the, in the Bible it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Lord said, let there be light. The idea that everything is in a state of vibration. And now our quantum physicists are basically in agreement with that. So the idea that everything is in a state of vibration, from the electrons moving around the nucleus of an atom to planets in distant galaxies moving around their sun, if they're in a state of vibration, then they're creating conceptually a sound. You perceive of our body as if you like this incredible orchestra that is playing the symphony of the self. When a part of our body, if we're like this orchestra, if the part of our body plays out of tune, out of harmony, a little bit like the second string player losing their sheet music, then that part of the body vibrates out of ease, out of harmony, and therefore we say it is dis-ease. So the idea of using sound, it's a healing modality, is simply to restore the correct resonant frequency and create balance back in that part of the body that is vibrating out of ease or out of harmony. So that's the first one. Everything is vibration. The second,
well, excuse me, we've already talked quite a bit about the second one, and that is intent is powerful. And so we know that that is actually a foundational aspect of working with sound. And then we go into the third one.
And we are all unique vibratory beings. And this is really just a major key, because we're not all the same. Oftentimes when we are doing a workshop, we'll ask, okay, how many of you are allergic to penicillin? And anywhere from 5 to 20%, or sometimes more, depending upon whatever the population is of an audience, will raise their hand and say, okay, so for 80% of you, penicillin, which is, if everything is vibration, penicillin is a vibration, therefore penicillin is a healing vibration. But for 20% of you, it's toxic. And this is an incredible, if you like, metaphor for everything in the universe, whether it's a pharmacological product or a food, or it could be music or anything else. We are all different. And if we can honor that, then if somebody says to you, oh, I got this frequency for you, and it's going to heal you of X, Y, or Z, maybe, but maybe it's not resonant with who and what you are. That's so very, very important, because if you have a, shall we say, less than positive vibration with a particular frequency or whatnot, then you're not going to get healed. And then you will either think there's something wrong with you or that sound healing doesn't work. And really, well, may be that simply the person who was working with it got locked into thinking that this was the frequency that heals everything. And regardless of your belief, there's also a frequency plus intent. So the frequency's got to be there for you. And you have to find something that works with and for you.
Very good. And and the fourth pillar, which goes back to what you first asked us there, Charissa, silence. And this is actually my favorite of the four pillars, because so many people don't realize that it is the silence where the shifts and the changes actually begin to take shape. And so when we are in silence, after we have been immersed in sound, whether it's through our own voice, whether it's a sound bath, whatever, when we are in silence, it is where we begin to listen to our own inner wisdom and to really begin to hear our higher selves, and where the healing begins to happen. And we always say it's sort of the yin to the yang of sound.
And Andy pointed out to me that the word silent and listen are anagrams that have the same. And how cool is that? There's something real special about that. So the power of silence is something that a lot of people in the sound field are clueless about. And it's so very, very important, because a lot of our work is on how do you amplify and enhance the power of the sound? What are the different techniques and vehicles that work to make things, more resonant with as many people? And, we cover this a lot, these different tools and different aspects in every month we do a sound satsang through Humanity's team, and it's a very powerful experience.
Yes, and we have one happening tomorrow.
We do. We have our December solstice through Humanity's team, which we are so grateful for,
Yeah.
Charissa. Oh, my goodness. And tomorrow night, we are going to be celebrating the solstice. The solstice happens on Saturday, and we are doing our sound satsang tomorrow night, but it is in honoring of this very auspicious, very powerful time of the year, the solstice. And of course, in our neck of the woods in the northern hemisphere, it is the winter solstice. However, in the southern hemisphere, it's the summer solstice. Powerful time of the year.
And we have a lot of fun doing these different sound satsangs as we come up with a subject, and oftentimes the subject is something that we may not know that much about, or we want to see what the latest up-tempo thing is. And so tomorrow night, we're going to be dealing with the subject of peace on earth.
Goodwill to all.
And, how do we create peace on earth? And, we'll give you the punchline right now, which ultimately is that peace on earth begins with ourselves. And we know that, but so we talk about some different, if you like, tips on how to create compassion, how to create gratitude, how to create love within ourselves. And then we work, of course, with sound. And one of our key ingredients is every sound satsang has a global sound guided meditation where we work with, once again, everything is consciousness. So we deal with a technique called heart-brain coherence that comes from heart math. And then and this amplifies our electromagnetic field, and it puts our own energy, our heart and our brain in resonance and synchrony together. And then when you add sound, it amplifies our field even more. You put the intentionality of the sound to heal the planet and heal ourselves. And by gosh and by golly, that's almost immutable force.
But having our Sound Sad songs once a month is such a great, for us, opportunity to really do teaching and to bring information about different aspects of sound, to our audience. And so tomorrow night, we hope that everyone will join us. It's at 7:00 Mountain Time, and we'll be focusing on peace on earth. And we'll be focusing on, as Jonathan was saying, how do we develop that? And what are those doorways into that inner peace? And of course, we talk about gratitude, compassion, loving kindness, and so many of those qualities that we as humans have within us innately that need to be focused on, awakened in whatever way possible. So it's always a beautiful opportunity that we are grateful for to be able to share with our audience. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Oh, thank you for sharing. And there's a question about the location of this. This is available on Humanity Stream for the members only. It's a private Zoom link. So if you're a member, then you can have access. Yes.
This is actually one that is available to the public.
Okay, wonderful.
And we have it, we have our website, which is healingsounds.com.
Okay.
And people who are on the website, we send them the link because we're
wonderful.
We think something like this is just so very, very important and needs to get out to as many people as possible.
Wonderful. So that's available to everyone and for members. So I want to show a little bit. Yes, what the monthly satsangs are like. So let's play a clip from the Autumn Equinox satsang. And for our tech team, that is clip number 3, if you have that.
What you're going to actually be hearing is Jonathan intoning the divine name. I will be playing my rose quartz crystal bowl, so you'll hear that sound. And we just hope that you just tune in and enjoy this experience.
Totally. So, blessed be.
Well, that was beautiful. Would you share a little bit about the images that we saw in conjunction with the sound?
I just have to thank you for the reminder. Yes, every sound satsang, I create a new short, about a 5-minute video of using oftentimes some of my music with some nice visuals. And that was from a recording that I did called Sounds of the God Code, the Divine Name. And I did that with Greg Braden, who worked with the liner notes with me. And I'm sure that a lot of humanities teams people know who Greg is. And the visuals, by gosh and by golly, I don't know where they came from. They came from one of my videos, and I have a little bit of a knowledge of how to take the visuals from one and pop them into another one. And I give thanks. That may have been from a fellow by the name of Timothy Heigelson, who did the imagery. There's like liquid imagery that is just beautiful. But I have a degree in filmmaking, and I've always felt that the idea of using music and sound coupled with imagery is just a powerful, powerful transformational tool.
And Charissa, and I do want to mention that with each of our SAT songs, it really gives people an opportunity to immerse themselves in sound. The first portion.
Oops. You turned it off. We can't hear you.
Okay. The first portion, we talk a lot about, a specific topic around sound. And then we go into having people immerse themselves, such as you just saw with that video, where they are just in the vibration, in the sound. And then each one, I'll do an astrological assessment, as astrology is something that I'm very also interested in. And
then we do the heart-brain coherence guided meditation featuring Andi's lovely voice doing a guided meditation, followed by our making sound together. So it's really a nice little package, and we really suggest that this is a wonderful way for people to resonate with on a deep level, working not only with sound, with consciousness, and once again, personal and planetary healing. Because we like to say, we heal the planet.
We heal ourselves.
We heal ourselves.
And we heal the planet.
So
it all works together.
And just as a real quick thing, one of our focal points, of course, is we do a 10-minute or more guided sonic meditation for planetary healing, but personal as well. And I want to just alert everybody, anyone who's watching, that on Valentine's Day, February 14th, we have, since the early 2000s, had an event called World Sound Healing Day, literally where thousands of people get together and project and send a sound encoded with the energies of love and compassion to our planet Earth, almost like sending a Valentine to Mother Earth. And this year, we're doing it primarily, the major focal point, which will be culminating at 12 o'clock New York time then. But the portal, if you like, that we're using is going to be Humanities Team this year. So we want to get literally 10,000 or more people sounding together so we can shift and change the vibratory of the field of the planet by encompassing more love and compassion to all sentient beings. What a concept. And it's real. It's not just a fabulous idea. It's really a spiritual, scientific conglomeration of energy that can change our planet and our lives.
And Charissa, the World Sound Healing Day coming up this February happens to be our 23rd year that we have been facilitating World Sound Healing Day. So we invite everyone not only to come to our SAT song, but World Sound Healing Day.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm excited for that. And Humanities Team is honored to partner with you on that event. So more to come soon. Well, I'd love to play another clip from our Stream Plus platform. This is clip number 2, where you talk about vowels as mantras.
What if somehow you could restore the correct resonant frequency to that part of the body or the etheric field or whatnot that was vibrating out of frequency, out of harmony, put it into its correct resonant frequency and restore it to a state of balance and harmony? This is the basic principle of using sound as a healing modality. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, having been in this field for a long time, I have a lot of great toys. Humans like toys. I have a lot of great toys. I have all sorts of instruments that project sound into the body. We sell tuning forks. I play with Tibetan bowls. I have a whole bunch of CDs that do marvelous and amazing things. But I must tell you, my friends, that we all have the most extraordinary tool for healing within us. It doesn't require electricity or batteries. The owner's manual is relatively easy to use, and it's free. And this, of course, is our voice. So we are today going to be learning to, if you don't already know, and I'll be doing just an enhancement of it, of using our voice as an instrument for healing. Now, I'm not talking about you getting up in front of a group and singing Strangers in the Night or whatever you like. That's entertainment, and that's great. What I'm talking about is using your own self-created sounds to change your vibrational shifts, and that's called entrainment, okay? And you don't need to be a trained singer. You don't need actually to take vocal lessons. All you need is a voice and the realization that you can use your voice to shift your frequencies. And part of that has to do with something I'm going to talk about in a minute, which is intent.
Which we already went over in the beginning. We just naturally flowed.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wonderful. So what do you mean by vowels as mantras?
Really quick, because I know we need to end this presentation very soon. But the idea is that vowels are universal sounds. And for example, whether you were working with each of the vowels has these phenomena called harmonics. And so you can tone and resonate the different vowel sounds, oo, o, ah, I, a, e, and resonate the chakras. And if you can resonate the chakras, well, then the vowels are mantras. It's on a level that's simple and that's powerful. And you can be a devoted person with a deep belief in a particular system that is not Hindu or Tibetan and still work with it because the vowels are universal.
Wonderful. Did you have a final message you wanted to share, Andi?
Oh, just the final message is just to hold the intention of love. I know we mentioned our mentor, Sarah Benson, earlier, who has passed on, and she taught us, and I share this as much as I can. She taught us that the true sound of healing is love. And I just actually love that. And, there's just, holding that intention, which we have really talked a lot about today. I am delighted because that is such a powerful, powerful way to begin working with sound.
Thank you so much. And thank you both for sharing your light and your wisdom and your love and heart. And thank you to our audience for joining us for Healing Frequencies and Intoning the Divine, the magical abilities of sound. I felt like we covered a lot today. Andi and Jonathan's courses, the monthly sound satsang, fundamentals of vowels as mantras, Healing Sounds, the 7 Secrets of Sound Healing, Personal and Planetary Healing Sounds, and Ascension Harmonics, the 1111 Divine Name Seminar are available now on the Stream Plus platform. So much amazing content. So join Stream Plus now and gain immediate access to these incredible programs. You'll get access to Andi and Jonathan's courses and our other incredible spiritual teachers. One of them was mentioned today, Greg Braden, Lynn McTaggart, Bruce Lipton. We are proud to say that Humanities Stream Plus is the largest global streaming platform for consciousness raising master masterclasses, and transformational education. And we are a nonprofit and also give back with our One for One program. I wanted to thank Steve Farrell, Dee Meyer, and the production team, Jim Gray, Garth Catterall, Andy Gutsky, Nanette Kennedy, and the rest of Humanity's team. It's been such a pleasure to connect with both of you, and we look forward to your Sound song tomorrow.
Oh, Charissa, thank you, thank you, thank you. We have been so delighted and honored to be here today.